I'm Petty Officer Kathleen Booth. This week on Navy Marine Corps News, the Chief of Naval Operations visits with sailors in Texas. USS Key West sailors hammer out houses for the homeless. And the Grand Master of Sumo Wrestling meets the crew of USS Independence. Join me, Petty Officers Herb Josie and Mark Kane, for these stories and more on Navy Marine Corps News. This week on Navy Marine Corps News, the Chief of Naval Operations visits with sailors in Texas. USS Key West sailors hammer out houses for the homeless. And the Grand Master of Sumo Wrestling meets with a crew of USS Independence. I'm Petty Officer Kathleen Booth.
I'm Petty Officer Herb Josie.
And I'm Petty Officer Mark Kane. We'll have these stories and more next on Navy Marine Corps News.
Welcome to Navy Marine Corps News. The Chief of Naval Operations was on the road meeting with fleet sailors last week. Admiral Mike Borda made his first road trip as CNO to Texas.
Kathleen, his first stop was Naval Station Ingleside, where he talked with mine warfare sailors. He also met with sailors at NAS Corpus Christi. His message: doing your job is important, but taking care of sailors is the key to a strong Navy.
Whether performing a re-enlistment or surprising sailors with on-the-spot Navy commendation medals,
you're authorized to wear it right now.
Admiral Borda showed sailors in Ingleside and Corpus Christi a hands-on CNO, one who's in touch with their needs and concerns.
It helps me do a better job to know that someone cares about what I'm doing.
During the fast-paced Ingleside tour, the CNO checked out the new fitness center, where he worked on his jump shot.
Something wrong with that basket. I'm going to get it fixed right away.
And ate lunch with sailors in the galley.
I'm going to eat real quick, and you're going to tell me what you think about this place, and we're going to start with you.
And that was the tone of the whole visit, Admiral Borda taking time to listen to sailors and find out their concerns. Another setting he used to learn Ingleside sailors' concerns was a pier-side chat. Sailors fired a variety of questions at the CNO, most of them focused on quality of life.
Why they're taxing our travel pay, our DLA, and is there anybody doing anything to stop that? And will we see a pay increase in the military in the near future?
Great. Good question.
And he told all of them that taking care of their shipmates would solve many problems.
There is somebody out there who you can reach out, touch, and get along his way or her way pretty soon and make them successful. And when you do, you're successful yourself as well.
Admiral Borda held a similar question and answer period at NAS Corpus Christi. One sailor there asked the CNO why she couldn't be stationed with her husband in Norfolk. She got a surprising answer.
Okay, you're going to Norfolk.
Just more proof of the CNO's belief that people are the Navy's most important asset. Oh, by the way, Admiral Borda even drove the official party around on the tour.
And Kathleen, Admiral Borda's first command when he was a lieutenant was of a minesweeper in USS Parrott.
Now, where's he driving to next?
Well, he's on the road again. Next week, he's going to hold a CNO's call to talk with Norfolk sailors. He'll also visit with some of the sailors in the George Washington Joint Task Group before they set sail for a Mediterranean deployment.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to keep tabs on him. Well, Petty Officer Mark Kane joins us now for a look at what's going on around the fleet. Mark, I understand there were some celebrities at the Naval Academy this week.
Celebrities? Well, try on Steven Spielberg and Bill Cosby.
Wow.
Cosby, a well-known comedian and a former Navy enlisted sailor, received an honorary promotion. Prior to her performance at the Academy's Alumni Hall in late April, Secretary of the Navy John Dalton introduced the comedian, author, and actor as one of our own and a true friend of the Navy. Cosby, who is already an honorary chief petty officer, was first presented with a midshipman's cap and then promoted to honorary lieutenant junior grade so that he would outrank all the graduating midshipmen.
Well, all this is very wonderful, but now every time I see him, I gotta stand up and all that stuff.
A few days later, the Academy presented film director Steven Spielberg with the first John Francis LeBoon Humanitarian Award. The honor was for his Oscar-winning film Schindler's List, which, according to the Academy chaplains, raised the moral consciousness of humanity. The Academy Award-winning director spoke to the midshipmen about their responsibility to humanity.
This
brigade of midshipmen are going to determine the future of all of our destinies. And the fact that all of you spend time to learn about tolerance, to see Schindler's List, but just your efforts to see the film and to read about the Holocaust makes me feel that America is a much safer place to live in. Thank you for this honor. Thank you very much.
When it comes to the environment, the sailors on board USS Theodore Roosevelt wrote the book. Actually, they wrote this book, their own environmental compliance program cookbook.
The cookbook is essentially an end result of programs that we started on board with just the initiative. You know, we were told what to do, but not how to do it. So our guys, you know, took the initiative themselves and went out there and made things happen.
The cookbook details the recipe for a successful shipboard environmental program and explains techniques developed to save money, time, and space. Well, a book about racing beds might have helped a team from the Naval Computer and Telecommunication Station in Hawaii. Sailors went up against military and civilian teams in the 21st annual bed race to benefit learning disabilities. They didn't fare too well. The Army won, but the Navy team contributed to more than $50,000 raised to help children with learning problems.
Well, we gave it our hardest, but the Army was just a little bit too strong today. They had a better bed, that's what it was.
And that will put this week's Fleet headlines to bed. Kathleen?
Thanks, Mark. When a fire broke out on board an American merchant ship in South Korea earlier this month, volunteers from 2 Navy ships helped battle the blaze.
More than 200 crew members from USS Mobile Bay and USNS Andrew J. Higgins answered the 2 a.m. distress call. The firefighters quickly attacked the blaze as it spread through a stack of shipping containers. It took 30 hours to hunt down and extinguish all of the fires, and when it was over, there were no injuries, just a lot of tired, proud firefighters.
Chief of Naval Operations sent over a message saying how proud he was of the Mobile Bay and the other ships that were involved, and that made me feel pretty good, you know, that even that high up, everybody knew about it and was cheering us on, kind of.
30 hours fighting a fire, wow, I'd be exhausted.
Serious, it's a great effort by those sailors.
Absolutely, so kudos to the Andrew J. Higgins and the USS Mobile Bay.
When we come back, we'll explore duty in Bahrain.
And we'll sneak a peek at the Navy's Intel School. Stay with us.
The pitch to Carter, swung on and belted deep to left field. It is gone. Joe Carter has hit a 3-run homer to win the World Series.
Becoming a professional baseball player took hard work, discipline, and a commitment to keeping my body healthy. That's why I never used tobacco. So listen to the pros. Quitting tobacco is one time that quitters always win.
Join the team. Adopt a winning strategy. Don't use tobacco. A message from Major League Baseball and Navy Medicine.
Welcome back to Navy Marine Corps News. Last week, Petty Officer Dave Smith updated us on how the naval intelligence community has evolved to incorporate the From the Sea strategy. In this next report, he explains what motivates sailors and Marines to enter the intel specialty.
First, I thought, like James Bond, like counterintelligence stuff, like that. I didn't figure, it was like this.
That's what I thought of it at first, but the more that I learned about it, the more I learned. We do have to know that kind of things, but our main job is to brief people, brief admirals, and let them know this is what's happening, and we have to be dead right.
This is where it all begins for Navy and Marine Corps intelligence personnel at the Intelligence Training Center here in Dam Neck, Virginia. And although it's full of high-tech equipment, James Bondish it's not.
That's one problem we have with some of the students who think once they get into the classroom, they think this exactly what they're going to be, some sort of James Bond type person, and it's absolutely nothing like that. There we go. Now we both got the same number.
I really emphasize to the entry-level classes, the young men and women that are just coming out of A school, that we're not here to make James or Jane Bond out of you. We're here to teach you to be analysts and to make you productive members of the fleet.
These specialists, both sailors and Marines, officers and enlisted, work mostly with computers, maps, and cameras.
We're analysts. We analyze information and do planning and stuff like that. We're not agents. We're not, clandestine or secret or anything.
As a team, the Navy and Marine Corps support the From the Sea strategy.
The Navy's intelligence more looks towards the sea. They want to know what's floating out there, what can shoot at them in their boat. We're looking for that, but we're also looking for what's on the ground. What do I have on shore, and what am I going to hit once I get ashore and start moving inland?
So basically, what the intel community does is no secret, but most of the systems they use to do their job are. And the job of intel specialist may not be as glorified as the spies and operatives that television and movies portray, but these specialists, although they don't say much, don't complain of boredom.
Oh, it's never routine. Especially when we're deployed, underway, that gets interesting. It's very exciting sometimes.
For Navy Marine Corps News, I'm Petty Officer Dave Smith.
Exercise Agile Provider recently trained 44,000 joint U.S. and allied forces to fight in the air, on the land, and from the sea. But keeping those fighting forces on the front line takes a solid network of resources behind the line. Corporal Christiana Tigert tells us about some of the Marines behind the scenes.
They work long hours and sometimes under unbearable conditions. They're the people who make up Marine Wing Support Squadron 27. MWSS 27's mission is simple. Once the Marines hit the beach, they must build and support a fully working airfield.
The expeditionary airfield is like bringing an aircraft carrier ashore. Everything that you would expect to find on an aircraft carrier is resident here at the expeditionary airfield.
Squadron 27 is much like a mobile city. They have everything from doctors, engineers, weather guessers, and even water purifiers. But because they have so many services and so many people they support, the Marines that work at the squadron have to be dedicated.
Same thing on this line.
Meet Sergeant Scott Melchert. He's a cook at the Field Chow Hall. His average day is 12 hours long, working in temperatures over 100 degrees. But this doesn't stop him from feeding more than 2,000 Marines or from enjoying his job.
It's a little hard on morale. Just a lot of hard work. You don't have a lot of people. It's real hard work. I like cooking. A lot of these cooks like cooking. It's our job. It's what we do.
Sergeant Melchert couldn't do his job without the help of the water purification team. This team of skilled Marines can go into the worst of situations and provide water good enough to drink.
We're more valuable than the guys that pump gasoline. We're open 24 hours a day, and we keep the guys in the field alive.
Water isn't the only thing that keeps the guys in the field alive. Base security has the job of protecting the airfield, the equipment on it, and the Marines who run the equipment.
You know that you went out there and you prevented something bad from happening to your fellow Marines. And that's a sense of satisfaction, that they can sleep easy with you on the post.
You might say Squadron 27 does more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day. For Navy Marine Corps News, I'm Corporal Christiana Tigert.
The Gulf War has been over for about 3 years now, but the Arabian Gulf is still an important area of interest to the U.S. and its allies.
The command ship USS LaSalle used to control Navy operations in the Gulf, but not anymore. Now naval forces there operate from the tiny island nation of Bahrain.
There's a U.S. Navy facility here, and it's one of the smallest in the Navy. Some of you might have heard that duty in Bahrain is hot stuff and that living here is easy. But that's not the entire story.
A lot of folks feel since we are at the end of the food chain, we get forgotten out here, and really this is the hub of a lot of activity. And a lot of folks, they work extremely hard, a lot of hours.
The mission of the facility is to support all U.S. ships deployed to the Arabian Gulf.
Our manning is limited for what we do, and you take the postal clerks working 7 days a week, all hours of night and day. You get The Seabees, they're also working extremely hard here and doing a lot of stuff to make this a better place to be.
What's really making the facility a better place to be is MWR. On less than 13 acres and with only 800 active duty sailors and Marines assigned to the facility, MWR still offers the same items a much larger base stateside would offer.
Now, I haven't been to all the bases in the world, definitely, but I think I know enough to know that this base is a little unusual in what we can offer.
From a new remodeled theater to an updated child care center, to making the all-hands restaurant bigger and enlarging the ship's store, MWR and the commands here continue to improve the quality of life for those on duty in Bahrain.
And when sailors in Bahrain do get some well-earned liberty, they can discover life outside the gates as well.
Yeah, and that's where we're going to go right now. Come along with us as we join two sailors from USS Reuben James on liberty in Bahrain.
Holy, this is awesome. I'll step right up here so I won't get stepped on. Better get back over here. That's funny. Is it okay we watch? Yeah? Can we come in? That's cool. That's incredible. How much for the hat?
That's 2 dinar.
2 dinar?
Yeah. 2 dinar.
Hey, right on. I like the hat. The hat's cool. It's you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
This is now it's coming pearl diving now.
Pearl diving was
see with the mask.
With
what you call it in English.
What would you use the newer model for more than the older model?
They say theirs go faster.
It's gold thread? No, just. Hey Garcia, they smell good, huh? He's like, whoop, whoop. Very good. It's mystical in its own way.
Fascinating place. Good music, good eats.
Great shopping, too.
It looks like it. I always thought of Bahrain as some sandy, dusty place in the middle of nowhere.
No way. Get to the 20th century. It's great. It's even got fast food restaurants that deliver. I mean, it's fantastic.
Sounds like my kind of place.
Yeah.
When we come back, find out how Navy campus can help you earn a college degree.
And USS Key West sailors hammer out houses for the homeless. Stay with us.
All right.
Navy Marine Corps News will be right back. Stay with us. Darn flies.
See Navy history come alive at the Navy Summer Pageant, featuring the United States Navy Band and Sea Chanters Chorus in a program of stirring music, costume characters, and dramatic visual effects. This is a program the entire family will enjoy. Don't miss the excitement each Wednesday evening at the historic Washington Navy Yard. For free reservations, call 202-433-2218.
Welcome back. When Hurricane Andrew tore through South Florida in 1992, sailors and Marines were there to help begin putting the pieces back together. Well, residents are still rebuilding their homes and lives, and as Petty Officer Mike Perrin reports, Navy volunteers are still helping out.
Rebuilding in the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew is an ongoing process in South Florida. Recently, sailors from the submarine Key West and Tender Hunley joined with members of the Coconut Grove JCs to build 2 new homes for families who lost theirs in the storm. The JCs adopted the submarine last year and sponsored the volunteers for the project.
They came up and said, well, we've got this Habitat for the Homeless coming, and why don't you just go ahead and get as many people as you can, and we'll sponsor a plane and come on down.
26 sailors from the 2 ships made the trip to take part in the Habitat for Humanity project, a program founded by former President Jimmy Carter. For the sailors, it was an enjoyable break from their daily routine.
I like to do this kind of work. It's fun for me. I don't get to do this kind of
On a submarine, you don't get to cut wood and pound nails and all that, and I like doing that every once in a while.
The JCs were also impressed with the effort the volunteers made in spite of tough conditions.
Last night we had a lot of rain, so there's a lot of mud out here. Didn't seem to faze anybody at all. Everybody just jumped in. A lot of them have never swung a hammer before, and a few fingers got pinched, but they're doing just a great job, and we love to have them here.
With just one day's worth of hard work, Key West and Hundley sailors have made a real difference in easing South Florida's homeless plight.
We did lose a lot from Andrew. We lost quite a bit, so I'm sure most of these people were people that had a house before, and who knows where they're living now. There's so many different things that people are having to do to survive, even a year and a half later.
Because of the efforts of the sailors and JCs, at least 2 families will soon have a place they can call home. Reporting from South Miami, I'm Petty Officer Mike Perrin.
Some people say the hardest part about getting a college education is actually getting started. You might think it would take too much time and money to get your degree, but that's not necessarily true, especially when Navy campus is there to help. Petty Officer Brian Kaiser introduces us to one sailor who did it and says that you can too.
Petty Officer Andrew Vincent is on the road to higher education, and the vehicle getting him along that road is the Navy.
In the little over 3 years that I've been on subbase, I've received my bachelor's degree and was accepted into graduate school, and next May I'll graduate with a master's degree.
But not all of Petty Officer Vincent's college credits came from actual college classes.
I did some credit by examinations that were offered here at Navy campus, the CLEP tests. Actually, a majority of my credits came through military schools.
Petty Officer Vincent says Navy campus helped him get his college education without going broke.
School is just so expensive these days. You know, even undergraduate school, just going for your bachelor's degree is so expensive. If it hadn't been for tuition assistance picking up as much of the tab as they did, I don't think I could have done it without going into debt and going for student loans and stuff.
Petty Officer Vincent should receive his master's degree next summer. In the meantime, it's going to take a lot of hard work, but he says it's all worth it. His advice is to check out Navy campus for yourself and find out what they have to offer.
It's just using what's available for you and deciding that yes, this is something that I want. It's not something you can just do casually. You have to dedicate yourself to it. You have to put forth a lot of effort, but it's definitely there. I'm doing it.
Petty Officer Josh Elledge, Pearl Harbor.
A semi-annual ritual that occurs right along with the physical readiness test is getting your body fat measurement. Now, you're all familiar with the measuring tape, but there are other methods too, like pinch calipers and even a water tank.
But which method is most accurate? Well, the Bureau of Personnel has asked the Naval Health Research Center in San Diego to investigate. Petty Officer Diane Jacobs has more.
Petty Officer Gerald Gardner works out 3 times a week. He works hard to stay within the Navy's body fat standards. He believes that a person's build has a lot to do with body fat measurements. So he volunteered for a study that's researching how blacks and whites differ when it comes to body fat.
In general, blacks tend to have, as an average, a little bit denser bones than whites. So that's why we picked these 2 groups, because they're at the ends of the continuum, the densest and the least dense.
30.2.
30.2 chest.
Volunteers are measured with skinfold calipers, with a standard measuring tape, and with a sliding caliper which measures bone width.
You can relax now. That should hold your feet together. Got it?
On the DEXA scan, X-ray beams scan the body to measure bone mineral content, bone density, and lean and fat mass.
Try to think about something that's enjoyable, pass the time.
Next, a machine measures the amount of air left in the lungs after volunteers blow out as much air as they can.
And that air that's trapped inside your lungs it's a buoyancy factor that we need to correct for. Otherwise, it would be counted as fat.
Then it's off to the dunk tank, as some volunteers call it, for underwater weighing.
Blow it all out. Push, 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 push.
Volunteers must push out all air from the lungs and hold perfectly still while being weighed to get the best readings. They do this 6 to 10 times.
You did good. They're trying to get the heaviest weight that they can underwater. We take the 2 heaviest weights and we average them out. And it's like usually they get the heaviest weight about the 3rd or 4th time.
I think a lot of people would find it very uneasy. It's kind of spooky. It's kind of scary. You're under there with no air.
Test results are given to volunteers the same day.
but this is at the high range of what would be reported for men. So this is really a nice, solid, dense bones, and that's good.
Gardner's test results will be combined with results from about 360 other active duty volunteers. This data will be used to see how body shape and bone density affect body fat percentages.
But if they make, a 3 or 4% body fat difference just because of one of those two factors, then that would be something the Navy would need to think about.
If so, sailors like Gardner might see changes in how body fat measurements are determined in the future. Petty Officer Diane Jacobs, San Diego.
Herb, the Naval Health Research Center will continue this testing until September and then send the results on to Washington.
We're about to meet a guy who isn't in the least bit worried about his body fat. In fact, the bigger he is, the better. Petty Officer Jason Mitchell explains.
Before paying a visit to the sailors and family members on the USS Independence, the Yokozuna, or Grand Master of Sumo, Akebono, had to fuel up for his waiting fans. After devouring a mound of hot dogs, Akebono greeted the throngs of people who came to see the first non-Japanese champion of sumo wrestling. In one case, Akebono met a fan from his hometown in Waimanalo, Hawaii.
I heard a couple friends talking about him before he was really popular. And it's pretty exciting having someone famous from Hawaii, from my hometown even, actually getting to meet him and everything. It feels good.
Akebono, the sumo name of Chad Rowan, was also in Yokosuka for a sumo exhibition match. Akebono's trainer, a former top sumo wrestler himself, said the road to the top was paved with determination.
And I think the main thing is he had the will to do it. And that's the most important thing. You have to get the will to do something. Chad did all the work, and but he worked very hard, and I'm very proud of him.
Sumo wrestling is the Japanese equivalent to American football or baseball in popularity. Those Americans who get a chance to see a match are often drawn into the thrill of the moment.
Back in the States, you get no understanding of it. Coming here and watching it, you get wrapped up in the excitement, seeing the guys out there in the basho and throwing each other around. Coming here, getting a chance to really experience it and see what these guys really look like and what they're doing. It's pretty exciting.
It's hard to imagine that this Goliath of a man, trained to use his full 500 pounds against his opponent, can also be as gentle as a lamb. Petty Officer Jason Mitchell, Yokosuka, Japan.
What do you think, Herb? You and me, maybe 10 other people, we could take them on?
Tag team.
Yeah, woo, we got it.
All you pencil necks out there, watch out. We're coming to get you.
What about that uniform? I just can't. I can't see it.
You can't picture me in a thong? You don't think I could?
Maybe with suspenders.
Yeah, probably. That's our show for this week. I'm Herb Josie.
And I'm Petty Officer Kathleen Booth. Before we go, here's a few more images of life in Bahrain, shot by photographer's mate, second class Andrea Moore. Have a great week.
لبست العين نورك والمحاجر بكن والولع من عذابي هاجبي ما سكن لبست العين نورك والمحاجر بكن والولع من عذابي هاجبي ما سكن شال الهم لاجلك والحنايا شكن شال الهم والحنايا شكن والقمر من حنيني